Hello and welcome to the Canney podcast with me, Canney. Okay, so in today's podcast, I want to talk about the hero's journey. Now, the hero's journey was a term coined by an American philosopher of the 20th century called Joseph Campbell. And what Joseph Campbell did was he studied all of the fairy tales and all of the myths, all of the religious stories and all of the secular stories and all of the myths and legends from all around the world, from a variety of different cultures, who all had different beliefs or, similar. Some of them had similar beliefs with nuances to them. And he realized that essentially each hero, so to speak, each protagonist, and each hero or heroine, the main male or female character or group of characters in it, in each story, no matter what the story was, no matter what language it was, no matter what the moral of the story is, the essential essence of the story underneath what seemed to be individually going on in the individual story was was essentially one and the same with relation to each character's experience. Each character was going through the same fucking journey, and he called it the hero's journey. Interestingly enough, Mr. Campbell then went and found that, and did some studies on modern fiction at the time and films, and he realized every single film, every single novel or whatever story, modern day story, just as the myths and the stories from around the world of like times gone by, all had the same journey, the same theme running through each of them. So too did the modern, the films and stuff, and the hero's journey. And he also realized that this is as Russell Brand has said before, everything, all culture is created out of the consciousness. It must be, because by culture he means art, movies, film, music, whatever, writing, books. It's coming from within us as human beings, okay? So we are all on our unique hero's journey in life. And it's a very interesting idea, right? And that's why when we read a book and when we watch a film, it resonates with us. Because the journey the character's going through, even if we can't relate to the individual thing, say it's a fantasy with loads of crazy stuff going on that would never happen in real life, or if it's like a very real situation, like somebody who might be in poverty or whatever, you still can't necessarily relate to that if you're somebody who grew up in a more privileged background. But the essence of the journey, you can feel like we all as human beings go through certain similar challenges and difficulties in life, and it's how we come back to ourselves. The hero's journey is cyclical. For example, when the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings, when Frodo and his friends set forth on their adventure, on their mission to destroy the ring in Mordor, they have to go through a series of challenges, and they're not the same. They mature, and when they come back and they're sitting down like men, like men who've come back from the First or Second World War, or any war, right? But those, were very prevalent wars of the last century. Men that come back and sit down, or women these days, I guess, soldiers coming home from the war back to their old town, where people that have stayed there that haven't been to war will never know the things they've gone through, and they're still essentially themselves, right? But they are not the same. They are changed. They are themselves with like an added component to them, which is the life experience they gained along the way, and we all go through this in life. Now, there are many different stages in the hero's journey. Believe there are 12 or more. But I'll just quickly talk about the three main stages. The first one is the separation, then the initiation, then the third one's the return. Now, the separation is when you get a call to adventure. And, for example, in Lord of the Rings, you must take this ring and you must go. But in films, it doesn't necessarily need to be, somebody coming towards you and saying you must do this. It might be a calling of your heart, as I've spoken about in this podcast before, as I've spoken about with relation to, finding your life's purpose. And the first initial reaction is to ignore the call, to try to not go, because you're scared of what might happen. You don't, all the reasons why, you don't know why. Now, in Frodo's case, the dangers are very real and very much life-threatening, right? The Black Riders are going to come and hunt you and kill you if you fucking get caught, basically. And in life, it might not be as dangerous as that for our hero's journey, but there are still, it really does actually, when you think about it, a little tangent here, a little bit of ADHD coming on here, it really does actually make you think, like, some of the shit that we fucking worry about in today's world, with all of our, obviously some people do still live in poverty in different countries and in this country, and people do live around dangerous people, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying, like, in films or in times gone by, there is a very real danger. If you go out on the road, someone's going to fucking hunt you down with a sword and cut your head off or whatever, and people are worried, I don't know how to start this business. Now, I'm not putting that down or taking the piss out of anyone being horrible. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's good to, like, think about those things, like, to give ourselves a bit of perspective. Anyway, so our separation when you deny the call, when you've got the call to adventure within yourself, you're going to have all of the reasons going on in your head why you can't do it, why you can't do this shit, why you can't go out and fucking figure out why it's not worth it, why you're going to keep whatever the fuck your thing is that you're living your life now. You need to go out there and change, and you'll get a call to adventure, and you're going to come up with reasons why you don't. Basically, you're going to try to pussy out of it, basically, to be quite frank, right? But when you do go for the call, inevitably you'll meet a mentor, right? Some of you may have taken steps in your life recently. Some of you may have come across this podcast, and other people like that you might consider more of a mentor than me. But I'm sure you've met mentors. If you're on your journey, you're listening to these kind of things, and you're interested in this kind of thing, and you've come across it, and this is something you regularly do. You listen to me, or you listen to others, probably others more so than me, right? You undoubtedly have met mentors, like you undoubtedly have mentors that you watch on YouTube. You might have mentors in your real life. Maybe your father or your mother's a mentor, maybe someone else is a mentor in your life. I don't know, a teacher. Right, undoubtedly you'll meet a mentor. Then you have to go through a series of challenges, and this stage is called the initiation. And this, to go back to Lord of the Rings, this is what Frodo has to go through, and the hobbits have to go through. All of them. Aragorn has to go through it to become a king. Gandalf has to go through it to become Gandalf the White. All of the hobbits grow and mature. You have to go through a series of challenges. Now, again, in real life, these challenges may not be as, life-threatening and serious as, if we don't win the battle against these enemies and this physical battle to the death, then we're dead, right? But that's not normally the severity of the challenges that we have to go through, right? However, like the challenges we will have to go through, we all go through in life. There are things we have to learn, failures we have to go through. We all have to overcome obstacles, overcome people that are trying to bring us down. Have to overcome ourselves. The voice in our own fucking head is the worst one of all. Because it's a combination of things that other people have put in your head and your own self-doubt, and overcome like limiting beliefs about yourself, overcome your, you have to learn new skills and all that shit. Like pursuing becoming the strongest version of yourself in life is a challenge, and people in life go through it, and that's what we're all going through. you know, in some way or another. Whether you call it the hero's journey or you're as conscious of it as I am, it's a different matter, but it doesn't really matter, really. And then the return. So you return, as Frodo returns to the Shire. You can see this in every other film. Harry Potter returns. What's it called? What the fuck is it called? Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. Every film, every book, pretty much, every story ever told was like this. Then you return. The Tale of the Prodigal Son is about this. There's a great video of someone uploaded of Guy Ritchie and Joe Rogan talking about it in the Joe Rogan Experience. Look it up. And the return, yeah. When you return with the elixir, you return with something. You become the person. You're now changed. You're now mature. Like, for example, if someone goes into the army and even if they don't see battle, they get initiated. They become a man. They become a woman. Like, they're stronger. They're a different, changed person. You know, it might be whatever it is in life. You might be in a band and you become, and now you've initiated. First of all, you're a kid fucking around, doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe you're now an entrepreneur. Whatever the fuck it is for you. Maybe you're now just a profession in whatever it is, a policeman or a policewoman, a cab driver, whatever it is, and you couldn't do it before. Passing the fucking driving test is a hero's journey, right? And then you return with the elixir, and now you've got something to offer. You've got new knowledge, new skills. You know how to drive now. Frodo comes back, he's got all kinds of new knowledge and skills. When Bilbo came back, he had knowledge and skills. And that is the hero's journey. If you're more interested in the hero's journey and you want more information about it, I suggest you look it up. There's probably thousands of videos online about it, and there's plenty of articles, I'm sure there's Wikipedia about it. It's a fascinating idea, something which links us all. So thank you for listening, and have a great day, guys and girls. Bye bye. Remember to subscribe to this channel.